When these two teams met a couple of weeks ago, Crandall got the hook from Matt Dunnigan. He's expecting to get the whole game tonight, and he's going to need to produce against that very tough defense. Kickoff is right around the corner. In the CFL, there is no foe like the Montreal defense. An eclectic mix of finesse and power, the Alouettes defenders overwhelm CFL offenses. Linebackers Tim Strickland and Dwayne Butler lead the Alouette blitz and wreak havoc on opposing quarterbacks, while Davis Sanchez leads a ball-hawking secondary that blankets receivers. And middle linebacker Kevin Johnson is the man who sets the tone through domination and intimidation.
Look at 44 Kevin Johnson. They go helmet to helmet, and my, oh my. Oh, man. That was called explosive.
Tonight, Marcus Crandall faces the league's best D on Wendy's CFL Live. Week number 5 in the Canadian Football League's regular season schedule kicks off in Montreal, where there's a threat of rain tonight. We'll see if that holds off or not. It won't matter. They're going to go anyway. Calgary and Montreal tonight on Wendy's CFL Live as we welcome you into our Wendy's CFL Live studios. Hi, Dave Randorf here, Chris Schultz there, Jock Climbing over there. So the Montreal Alouettes, there they are cruising along with their 4-0 record. And yeah, most of the talk has been about that pressure defense, which has been very good. But this just in, their offense went off in a big way last week against Ottawa, scoring 39 points, and tonight they get another super-duper weapon back. Jermaine Copeland back after suffering a hamstring injury, kept him out for a couple of weeks, so Calgary's in for a test tonight.
Yeah, they sure are. They get Reggie Durden back on defense, which is also bad news for the Stampeders. Now, how do you go about scoring points on this Montreal defense? Yeah, well, there's no easy answer, but let me tell you, the Renegades showed you what you can't do, and that's try and nickel and dime them down the football field and hope to take advantage of the odd big play. Here's where you see them trying to take advantage of the odd big play with a pump and go to Woodcock, and you've got to take advantage of those opportunities. And you saw what happened there against Sanchez, who ran Woodcock's route for him. What you need to do against this defense is you need to take those shots often. You can't just take them once or twice and it didn't work and simply turn the page, go back to your nickel and diming 5-yard outs and hooks. You've got to take your shots often, Chris, and hope that if you throw 10 deep ones, if you catch 2 of them, that's pretty good average.
Well, and I really think Calgary's going to take their shots, but it's going to be really tough because Montreal is a talented football team. Not just talented, but they're a focused talent. The players on the team hold each other accountable. The players on the team, all they talk about is making a contribution. In the first game between these two on the 27th of June, those 5 turnovers all happened in the first 3 quarters for the Calgary Stampeders. They're going to have to be able to win the offensive line in both phases of the game if they're going to have a shot on this. It's very unlikely, but they do have an opportunity depending on the conditions. But you got to like Montreal, guys.
You do, and these two teams met a couple of weeks ago. The final was 32-14, but that game was much closer than that score indicates, as Montreal didn't start to pull away until late into the 4th quarter. But they've got it going now, led by their gunslinger Anthony Calvillo, who had the offense rolling last week at home against Ottawa, wants to keep it going tonight on Wendy's CFL Live. Kickoff next.
Thursday night in Montreal. Doesn't get better than this. It'll even be better if it doesn't rain. Leif Pedersen.
Boy, it has been an ugly day here in Montreal, but as luck would have it, around 5 o'clock, the skies have partially cleared. It's a beautiful night for football. There you see it. 23 degrees. The field is pretty much dried up. A lot of excitement in town to see another big test for the Montreal Alouettes, and led by Matt Dunnigan, the first-year head coach of the Calgary Stampeders. A 1-2 record so far. And if you can't play for Matt Dunnigan, there's no better guy to play for. A good players coach, and they've got a big test ahead of them tonight.
They had the bye week last week, coming off a loss against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and Don Matthews, the Don, CFL's winningest coach, of course, unblemished against the Stampeders as an Alouettes head coach. And Matthews and the Alouettes have always gotten off to a start. This is nothing new in Montreal.
No.
They are used to this stuff.
Well, they really are. I mean, you know, it's nothing for them to be 4-0 to begin a season. You know, they started 8-0 in 2002. There's no reason why this team, I mean, heck, they come out in the paper today. We talked about it in the pregame show. Ed Fillion says we could be 18-0. He says it's not inconceivable to think that we could do that.
You know the Calgary Stampeders read that article. Let's see.
I think it's up on the bulletin board in the locker room. You got to know that.
Let's see if that ramps them up, Annie. Wayne McGarity, he's a missile. Let's see what he does as he gets the ball first. Up the middle, McGarity brought down at the 44-yard line. Here comes Marcus Crandall. Last time he played against the Montreal Alouettes, he only went a half. Let's take a look at the Stampeders offense.
And the big target so far for Calgary this year has been Albert Connell on the outside. 18 catches so far. This entire receiving corps has to step up big tonight. They're going to get some chances, but they're going to have to make the plays. And the pressure on Seth Dittman, the left tackle coming over from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He's on the blind side protecting Marcus Crandall, and you know there's a lot of people coming off the edge and will be coming hard against this Calgary offense tonight.
You know what the playbook says? We're going to pass. Crandall throwing early, rush on. First pass caught by McGarity. Just past midfield, a 13-yard pickup. First play, a first down for the Stampeders. They had a hard time running the football, moving the football against the Alouettes. Here's their defense.
Well, they won't run much against this defense. And how about Dwayne Butler last week? 3 sacks, tied for the league lead now with 4. They bring 7 people constantly and are a nightmare for quarterbacks to play against. The secondary, Armando Curry with his first interception, a rookie, and he took it all the way to the house against Ottawa last week. A 50-yard touchdown for him.
You know Matt Dunnigan, Marcus Crandall and the Stamps would love to get on the board here. Pass into the flat, caught, and Nicholas Lewis, another first down, 13-yard pickup again. So 2 plays from scrimmage, and already Crandall is looking much better, much sharper than that game 2.5 weeks ago against the Alouettes in Calgary.
Well, I mean, the good news is he's seen Montreal now for the second time early in the season, so hopefully he learned from that. John Jenkins, the offensive coordinator, believes he did, and you know what? Matt Dunnigan thinks other teams have been passive on their offense against Montreal. He says, my team is going to really go for it tonight and be super aggressive, and they've started that way.
Lewis in motion. Crandall lets it go, and they were bringing the house that time. Tim Strickland in and got a piece of that ball, and Marcus Crandall had to get rid of it in a hurry.
Well, last year in a game here at Molson Stadium against the Alouettes, those were the numbers that Marcus Crandall had before he got hurt. He was well on his way to a super night, but he obviously could not complete that game. So, you know, mentally, he has had some success against this team, and I think that does play a part.
He's just got to play a full game.
That would help.
Only a half last year and a half 2.5 weeks ago. 2nd and 10. To the sideline, caught by Denny Montana. I'll play a little Jeopardy with you. Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, and Hamilton.
Wow, this is good. What Calgary's going to try to do tonight is spread out the Montreal defense as much as they can, and they've got 4 receivers to the wide side of the field, puts Montreal in a bit of a bind. They don't blitz anybody. They're in a deep zone coverage, which is unusual, and lots of room on the outside for Montana. This is a good drive.
The only teams that Montana didn't play for in the CFL were those 3 teams, and now Victor Reich up the middle. And he's close to a first down again. 8-yard pickup.
You know, it's interesting. John Jenkins, the offensive coordinator, everybody knows he's just a pass-happy kind of guy. He thinks it's a lot easier to get to the end zone through the air. But historically, the offenses that he's run have always had good averages rushing the football. They don't do it a lot, but they do it pretty effectively. And if they can do that a little bit tonight, just as a change of pace as they did there, that's really going to help.
Crandall in the shotgun again. Look out from behind. Throws it to the end zone. Open. Montana, the touchdown for Calgary. Stampeders strike first on their first possession.
Well, and the key was to get Crandall outside of the tackle. Get outside, away from the pressure. Here's the pressure right here. He gets outside, perfect visibility downfield, and what a super pattern. Denny Montana on the rookie, Armando Curry. He beats him to the outside. Curry recovers pretty well, but what a tremendous, tremendous opening drive for the Stampeders. Talk about a confidence builder.
2 big catches by Montana in the drive. Convert is good. Stampeders lead is 7-0. Marcus Crandall sharp early. Here by Marcus Crandall. And the Calgary Stampeders and the Stamps lead early. Look out for this guy. Ezra Landry has already taken a missed field goal back. He is the second coming, I think, of Minnie Mac Heron in this league. This guy is lightning quick.
Oh,
and
my.
A pooch kick right up the middle. 50-yard line. That was a line drive caught by Derek Jeter at shortstop.
Disguised as Kerry Watkins tonight. Boy, he made a heck of a play, but let's go back and have one more look at the opening drive touchdown by Denny Montana. And he did, you know, he's watched some film. Here he is on the outside. He's going to go down here. He's going to jam with Curry and then go to the corner. But the key is he's watched film. He knows that Curry likes to squat right there. And when you get the swim and you get push off and get by him, Curry's dead in the water. That's a heck of a play by Denny Montana to cap off a super drive.
So Anthony Calvillo to work. Calvillo goes the other way. Pass is dropped by Jermaine Copeland, back in the lineup after missing for a couple of weeks. Let's meet the offense. Of course, the orchestrator is Anthony Calvillo.
Yeah, and let's talk about Jermaine Copeland. He's been out with a hamstring injury, and he's back in the lineup, and of course led the league with over 1,700 yards receiving last year. A terrific target. On the offensive line, you know, we talked about Ozuma Ukiki, the left tackle. Terrific week last week, run blocking for Denson, a terrific all-star.
3 all-stars on that O-line. Calvillo's looking deep, but sprints out of the pocket over the middle. 24-yard pickup to you-know-who. His favorite target, Ben Cahoon.
Well, Ben Cahoon playing in his 113th consecutive game tonight. Terrific pass protection. Look at this. Look at the sight lines for Calvillo downfield. He gets to step up. And when you get that kind of time and you have as talented a receiving core as he has in front of him, you're going to complete a lot of balls.
And this team deadly in the red zone. They are down to the 26. Calvillo hands off to Autry Denson, who is swallowed in the backfield, a loss of 5 yards. Here is the Stampeders defense, and they'll be looking at number 6 tonight.
Yes, John Grace is playing the linebacker, came over in the trade with Ottawa. They play a 3-4 front. The 3 guys up front sell out, so the linebackers can make all the plays. And in the secondary, a rookie on the corner, Nate Terry, 2 interceptions in his first week in that win against Saskatchewan.
Starting lineups brought to you by Tums. Tums tackles heartburn fast. A 3-yard loss, 2nd and 13. Denson coming off a 4-touchdown performance. Calvillo in trouble, gets it away, and the Alouettes are going to have to kick the football. And Calvillo is down in the backfield. But he's up, and that will bring on Matt Kellett and the field goal team. This one will come from around the 37-yard line, it looks like.
Now, you talked to Matt Dunnigan about his defense and what does he really like about it. Denny Crehan is the D coordinator, but he says, you know what, I've got great team speed, and it seems like every team in the league now has that, Rod, and they feel like they match up pretty well tonight. That time, Joey Bose, super job on Jermaine Copeland, and that's where Calvillo wanted to go, and he shut him down.
Kellett from the 37. Kick is up. And down Main Street, 7-3. Both teams have scored in their first possessions. Wendy, CFL Live on TSN. Let's get a word from the sidelines. Our reporter tonight, Michael Whalen. Hi, Mike.
Leaf, last week you remember that Jerome Hayward was brought in when Ottawa was trying to score very close to the goal line. Well, I asked Don Matthews earlier this week if he was going to do the same thing sometime, and he said Ed Fillion is dying to get his hands on the ball, and he says he's going to do it before the year is out. Maybe not in tonight's game, but pretty soon.
McGarity fumbles the football. Montreal recovers. Brian Nugent, a former Stampeder, has the football. McGarity slipped on the turf and coughed it up.
Well, tough break for Calgary. You don't like to give Montreal anything. You got to make them earn their points, but he slips on the turf. The ball comes loose. Nugent's there, and the Montreal Alouettes that are a +9 in the takeaway giveaway category. They are dynamite when they get those turnovers, and they've got it in great scoring position.
So a second crack thanks to the recovery from Nugent to play at York. Calvillo, Cahoon, wrapped up, he fumbles out of bounds. A pickup of 7.
Well, Calvillo's been dynamite in the red zone so far this year. They've been in the red zone 20 times, and they've had 16 scores now, and 8 touchdowns and 8 field goals out of that, 4 on the ground, 4 through the air. So when this team gets a chance to bury you with some points, they don't make too many mistakes.
Calvillo now the 10th leading passer in CFL history. Calvillo again. Looks like they'll move the yardsticks. Catch made by Kwame Cavill. First down, Alouettes. Jermaine Copeland back this week, and that's another weapon to the Alouettes arsenal. You know, last time they played against Calgary, he left that game early.
Yeah, he had a bad hamstring, and it's taken him 3 games to get it healed again, but what a target. Played all 18 games last year. Those are the numbers so far in abbreviated season so far this year.
Led the CFL in a lot of receiving categories. Calvillo, another first down. Copeland on cue with the reception. And a flag on the play. Our first penalty here tonight. Referee is Jake Ireland. The umpire tonight is Ross Saunders.
Objectionable conduct. Montreal 80, a dead ball foul, first down.
So this was obviously after the play.
He spiked the ball, and I don't know if he spiked it at somebody. Here you're going to have a good look, and boy, you have to have good protection to throw this. An out or an up and then back to the outside, and Howard Fields can't get there, and I do believe he spikes it. We're maybe not going to see it, but maybe he spikes it right at Fields.
Yeah, right in front of William Fields.
So there they call it.
Calvillo backpedaling, end zone, Cahoon knocked away. Good defense from Joey Bose. All over Ben Cahoon like a blanket in the corner of the end zone.
Joey Bose, so far in this first quarter, has made a couple of great plays. One you didn't see on Copeland that forced Calvillo to throw it away, and another right here. He simply fights through Ben Cahoon to knock the ball down. Joey Bose can play corner, he can play safety, he's tough as nails, and Matt Dunnigan absolutely loves this guy.
Stampeder Rookie of the Year last year, played all 5 secondary spots. 2nd and 10 now. Calvillo looks left, goes right. No one there. Penalty in the backfield. Calvillo was dropped. This will go against the Stampeders, roughing the passer. Might have been Scott Coe in there. And also Brian Clark. Too close, too much. Calvillo was knocked down.
Major foul, roughing the passer, Calgary number 38, first down.
Well, George White was coming on the blitz, and he gets called, and, you know, honestly, Rod, not only when you're playing on the road in general, but when you're playing on the road and it happens to be in Montreal, and Montreal happens to be 4-0, you can't make those kinds of mistakes. They've already given Montreal a fumble. Now they give them an automatic first down with the penalty, and it's going to come back to haunt you.
Danson spinning, nowhere. So now 2nd and goal for the Alouettes. Anthony Calvillo, last year's most outstanding player. Mentioned the 10th leading passer in CFL history, number 9 that he's taking aim on now, Dieter Brock, and he will climb the ladder. Guy who has known what it takes to win through the years. Here's the rush, there's the pass, there's the touchdown. Jermaine Copeland. And there's the end zone dance. You used to do this when you played, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, and I'd go to the chiropractor right after. Well, Montreal takes advantage, not surprisingly, and Jermaine Copeland works inside on Milo Lewis. A good catch, works back to the quarterback. Got some young receivers from McGill University in the booth with us tonight, and you should watch how Jermaine Copeland works his way back to the quarterback, keeps that separation, and gets a pretty easy touchdown. Take advantage of the turnover.
Lots of offense early on here. 10-7 Als. Touch the ball now. They've been able to score. McGarity has to hang on to it this time. The Stampeders want to answer back. Kellett the kick. There's McGarity. Trying to find a seam. Brought down at his 30-yard line on a 19-yard return. Jermaine Copeland, CFL All-Star. Are they happy to have him back in the lineup? This is what he does best.
Yeah, and what he does best is work down on Milo Lewis, but the key is, as Jock Climby must love this watching it back in the studio, come back to your quarterback. And look at this. Not a super pattern, but he kept the separation that he created, and he gets an easy touchdown. But good technique by Jermaine Copeland. That's why he caught 99 balls a year ago.
So Copeland talking upstairs. The offensive coaches. Crandall back at work. Goes right. Catch made by McGarity. And that's pretty close to a first down, but they will be short, so a couple of yards shy.
You know, one of the things Matt Dunnigan and I talked about this morning was the key for first down plays for Marcus Crandell and the offense tonight. And, you know, I mean, anybody can say that about their offense, but I think when you go against Montreal, you can't play second and long all night. So if they get good yardage on first down, as they did right there, they're going to have a chance to have success.
Matty told us today that the Stampeders are not intimidated coming in here. They're bringing the big bat, and they're coming out swinging. Catch made. Mike Juhas.
And again, the quick read by Crandall. They gave Juhas a lot of room on the outside, and he was able to make the catch. And of course, it's pretty easy when you just got to go 4 yards. And that's what the first down play really set this one up. You know, 2nd and 4, this was pretty easy, and Kelly Malveaux did want to come up and play tight coverage, so you get a first down and you keep a drive going.
6 of 7 so far, 71 yards, shades of last year in Montreal. Team that just does not run the football, though. Look out, gets it away and picked. Armando Curry. Second interception in as many games for the rookie from Virginia.
And it's the pressure of the Montreal defense that sets up the interception. Coming off the edge once again, the inside, and a ball that just simply Denny Montana never looked for. Crandall was expecting him to break off the pattern, and Curry gets his second pick.
Big rush again.
You know, he's got Tim Strickland right in his face. Tough to get any kind of velocity on the football there. So, Montreal's second turnover of the night in Calgary territory.
O'Neal Wilson goes wide left. Calvillo backfield. Hands inside to Denson. Denson, a flag on the far side of the field. Let's take a look at what Armando Curry did last week.
Well, he really anticipated well against Kerry Joseph right here. Watch how he steps in front of the receiver. That is great anticipation. And interesting story about Armando Curry. He went to the University of Virginia. His head coach was Bob Price, who coincidentally was the head coach of the Alouettes in 1996. He recommended to Jim Pop, please have a look at this guy. He's only 5'8", but he's got a big heart. He ended up in Montreal. He's the starting corner and 2 interceptions this year.
He's got one of the, I'm not going to say strange nicknames, but most different nicknames in the CFL. Muffin.
Muffin, yeah. I'm not sure I'd want to be called Muffin.
It's not a handle I'd be throwing out a lot. What did they call you?
Not telling.
All right. 2nd and 8. Calvillo fires, middle, catch made, Cavill down to the 24-yard line.
And the key for Montreal starts with protection. Calvillo, all kinds of time. Watch the pocket that he has right here. His offensive line does such a terrific job. No hands in his face. He just gets to step up on the front foot and deliver a strike. And, of course, he's got a receiving core that can find the holes whenever they play zone, and they're great one-on-one man receivers as well. But protection
could be deflating again for the Stampeders. Calvillo is brought down, but you give the ball up 2 times if the Alouettes come back here and score again. Even though it was a great start for the Stampeders, quickly nullified. John Grace in there, the former Ottawa Renegade, former Montreal Alouette.
And there's John Grace right here, and they will bring 1 or 2 linebackers most of the time with this 3-man front. He comes a long way to get pressure on Calvillo, but Calvillo was really hanging in. They had a quads to the field and a single receiver backside. They wanted to go to Anderson backside, and he just couldn't get open. Calvillo had to eat it.
So 2nd down, 14. Long yardage. Calvillo in trouble again. Flag on the play. Might be a hold. End zone for Wilson. No. That might be a holding call. William Fields, the defender on O'Neill Wilson there. Calvillo's had to do some dancing here in the pocket tonight. Good pressure from that 30 defense so far.
Well, I can tell you after a couple of turnovers back-to-back for the Stampeders, if they can get out of this somehow, they're going to take it back 10. If they can somehow get out of this with maybe just a field goal, I'd have to take that as a positive.
Well, the field goal team will come out because it was holding. Luke Fritz, the perpetrator that time, so Matt Kellett will try to make it his 2nd field goal here tonight from the 36-yard line or so. 10-7 Alouettes. A first quarter that has absolutely breezed by. There's only 2 minutes and 20 seconds left.
It has had good pace to it, even with the turnovers.
Kellett, kick is up. Kick is good. 13-7 the score. Quick first quarter. Owls in front. Offside call earlier that was declined, and now they will kick the ball away again.
It was rather interesting. They declined the holding, and I mean, it was 2nd and 13. They chose to let Kellett have a field goal try, and shows you the respect that Matt Dunnigan has for Calvillo in that offense, that they don't even want them to have a chance at 2nd and 23. Let them kick the 3. So
2:12 left in this opening quarter. The rematch of 2.5 weeks ago when the Owls beat the Stampeders 32-14. It was a game that was very close up until the last minute of the 3rd quarter. Stampeders now look to make it closer. McGarity again. Reverses field. Goes outside to his 40 and out of bounds. Kellett forcing him out of bounds there, and that's where Crandall will go to work. John Jenkins, the offensive coordinator, the colorful offensive coordinator of the Calgary Stampeders, but this is a team that really the play is pass, pass, pass.
Well, it is pass, 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 and I think at some point in time, historically, John Jenkins has played for head coaches that have been willing to go along with that.
Run and shoot.
Most of the time, I think Matt Dunnigan and John Jenkins will have some lengthy discussions about maybe running the football a little bit more, but when you hire Jenkins, you get what you see. He wants to throw.
Only 1 carry tonight, and Crandall is rocked again. Tim Strickland in the backfield. 1 rush tonight for the Stampeders, only 8 yards from Victor Ike. So that's not their game plan. They said that from the beginning of the season. Matt Dunnigan is going to throw a lot of footballs at you.
Well, you're not going to beat Montreal running the football. I mean, it's as simple as that. I think we're talking running game for Calgary over the 18-game season more than anything else.
Ike is in the backfield, 2nd and 10. Crandall going sideline, a 1-hopper. And every single play now, there is someone in the backfield. That time, Crandall had nowhere to go looking down the sideline, so they will have to boot the football away. Anwar Stewart was right in the backfield.
Oh,
that
I
time.
know. I mean, the pressure is just crazy that comes. I mean, you know, here's Stewart right here. He fights through. Here comes Strickland up. I mean, if you're Crandall, you're going to start to get a little jumpy pretty soon because you just don't have much time to set up. And your receivers, really, the pressure is on them to get open quickly. And Montreal's corners sit down at 10 yards. It's a tough defense.
Charlie Hebert to Landry. Ezra Landry, the pint-sized Ezra Landry, has nowhere to go. Well, you know where to go in the morning tomorrow. Today, Paul Casey and Thomas LeVay lead -5. The Open Championship back on TSN tomorrow.
And the winds were pretty calm over at Royal Troon today.
Guess what? It's not going to be that way for me.
I hope it's not. I love it when they struggle.
Well, Anthony Calvillo not struggling here so far. Final minute, first quarter. The Stampeders, you'd have to think, are rather fortunate to be down only 6 points after giving up the ball a couple of times.
Well, you give the ball up 2 turnovers in the first quarter, and I agree with you completely. They should take that as a positive. And, you know, they've had a long time out here in between the exchange, and now just try to regroup, play some defense. Those are the numbers. Pretty impressive.
Alouettes off to a blazing start as usual, 4-0. Went 8-0 back in 2002 a couple of years ago. From their 31, Denson wrapped up. Scott Coe. This is the farthest back the Alouettes have started here tonight. So
pretty interesting. Alouettes showing a tight end formation, which I really haven't seen from them this year. They bring Tito Simpson, 96, in as a tight end. Once again, I really think in the last few weeks, Rob, that Montreal's tried to establish the run more than they have in the past, and maybe this is what Doug Barry wants to do, to really have a more balanced attack. They're usually about 1/3 rush, 2/3 pass, but in the last few weeks they've evened that up a little more.
Well, they got a good runner in Denson. Calvillo gets out of the pocket and will get a first down and more. Slides up to the 50. Anthony Calvillo got a lot out of that.
Now watch Calgary at the right of your screen. Watch this. Joey Bozay is coming on a blitz, and I'm not sure if it was Lambert or Okiki. Watch the block as they pick up the blitz. Boom. I mean, Zuma Okeke, and that's why we feature him at the beginning of every game. He just does it all. He's so smart.
4-time CFL All-Star Calvillo to Denson. Denson, and he's to the 30. What a play. Autry Denson. Final play, first quarter. Denson takes it down to the red zone.
At the quarter, brought to you by Reebok, the only brand that hangs in every CFL locker.
And Denson with a little stiff arm to Joe Fleming on that play. Wow. Well, this quarter started off great for Calgary, but a fumble, an interception, and a very costly roughing the passer penalty has turned things around. Now, we can talk about Montreal all night. We probably will. But let's go back to the Calgary touchdown and talk about how they started well.
Yeah, David Schultz and I want to draw this up for the folks at home and explain to the folks why Calgary was so successful in that first strike and the touchdown. Here's what you got here. You got the blitz to Freeman Strickland off the edge. Now, it's Megna's job. He's got to come up here, and he's got to seal the quarterback and prevent him from rolling out. And I like what Calgary does. Calgary says, okay, you two guys right here, you double-team Megna and allow our quarterback to sprint out Schultz, and they do a great job executing from there.
Boy, but watch Marcus Crandall here. He keeps moving, and see how he's leaning all the way to his right, throwing off balance. If he did not have that confidence to try to make that throw, it would not be a touchdown to Montana. Credit right now Crandall from learning from previous mistakes and making that play. Now, I know he threw an interception on another off-balance throw, but he's got to keep throwing it up because that's the only way you're going to beat Montreal is by taking those type of risks. Nice play by Crandall. He's got to do some more.
Calgary with an early touchdown, but Montreal scored 13 unanswered points, and they're driving for more. Second quarter is coming up.
Big play by Autry Denson. He can not only run the football, but when he catches it, it picks up a lot of yardage after the catch. From the 38, Denson takes off again, right side. Has a 5-yard gain. Autry Denson getting some good protection from that offensive line. 3 All-Stars on it, including Scott Flory, who we have to say happy birthday to today. 28 years young, Scott Flory. Birthday boy, and Ben Cahoon will be celebrating number 32 tomorrow. So those 2 guys would like to blow some candles out tonight. 2nd and 5 now from the 32.5. Calvillo shotgun. Onside, it looks like. Calvillo to the sideline. Copeland cuts back. Copeland knocked out of bounds. 12-yard pickup. Jermaine Copeland. Looked like Calgary might have jumped. Were they forced offside, though?
Offside. Calgary number 98. Decline. First down.
Antoine Young. Matt Dunnigan. First-year head coach. Only 1 win so far in 3 games. The Stampeders got off to a roaring start in their first win and had a tough time against Hamilton in that first quarter, down 25-zip, but then
Yeah, that's tough to come back from.
showed some composure coming back, some resiliency. So another pickup by Copeland, picking up about 3 or 4 yards. So this dangerous Montreal offense, we've talked so much about the defense, but this offense over the last few years, even when they lose players like Pat Woodcock or Keith Stokes, they're able to find players. A guy we haven't talked about tonight, Thyron Anderson.
Yeah,
Great hands.
Good. Oh, I mean, he set up 2 Autry Denson touchdowns last week against Ottawa, and he was really the one that got the offense untracked in the first quarter and in the first half with a couple of long passes. And Paul Lambert, the left guard, the injured Montreal Alouette lineman.
So we'll step aside and come back to Molson Stadium with 13:21 left, second quarter. Is up and walking, although wincing, a Montreal-born former Tie-Cat. 16 games last year with the Alouettes. And into the game, Shirko Haji Razuli. 2nd and 7. Calvillo fires. Catch made again by Copeland. He's unstoppable here tonight.
Well, and he's had great success against Milo Lewis, the inside safety, and it seems like they've really seen something on film because it's a 3-step drop and unload, and Lewis is not coming up. He's not pressuring Copeland. It looks like he is, but Copeland actually has a lot of room to get inside and make the easy catch. He already has a touchdown tonight and a key catch to keep this drive going.
Denson in the backfield. Gets the handoff, goes the other way, and lots of room.
Whoa.
Forget about it. Touchdown, Montreal. Just like last week against Ottawa. Autry Denson. Now his 5th touchdown of the season.
Well, Denson, he gets cut off here and then comes back. Watch Calvillo come around and lead the play, and then you know what? Common sense kicks in and he says, you know what? I'm not going to make a block. You go, whoa, I got to get out of there. But he didn't need to because Denson had enough speed to get to the outside and with a great athletic ability, get his 6-yard touchdown.
CFL Offensive Player of the Week, Autry Denson. 2 100-yard rushing games in a row. Last time that happened in Montreal, the guy's name was Mike Pringle. 27 out. In Montreal, after Mike Pringle had left, they were really looking for a running back. They've got a good one now in Autry Denson.
Well, this is something you don't teach. You just have an instinct that, you know what, I can't get anything over there, and I have enough speed to get to the outside. But I can tell you, he got a lot of help from Jermaine Copeland downfield. And here's Copeland here and Milo Lewis. When Lewis tries to make the play, come on, officials, you got to see this. I mean, he's trying to work out. He has a chance to make the play right there. Watch the grab right there. Goodness gracious, that's in the open field. That's got to be called. I hate seeing that.
McGarity doesn't find open field. A 36-yard return, pretty good field position, but there's a flag on the play. Montreal Alouettes right now, Leif Pedersen, making it look very easy offensively. You have a feeling if the Stampeders don't score in the next couple of possessions, this could be a very long night for Calgary.
Well, you know, it was interesting. I thought there's the drive pretty easy, 9 plays. They run a lot of clock, but I thought Russ Jackson in our studio show made an interesting comment about the 3-4 defense. He said, you know, yes, you do bring, 5 and 6 guys maybe on the blitz, but the difference is you're bringing smaller people against bigger people. And I think we've seen tonight that really only a couple of times in the first half is Calvillo really had a lot of pressure on him. And maybe that was a good point that Russ said, small guys against big guys.
Ball comes back because of the penalty. Holding call on the return. Charles Assman called for that. Crandall needs to respond. Penalty flag in the air on the ground. Catch made after a little juggling act. Marcus Crandall has faced a lot of pressure. Mike Juhas with the reception. And once again, it looks like it's going against the Stampeders.
They really made a lot of mistakes in the first half, Rod. They came out with just
Offside.
a spectacular.
Calgary number 89. Repeat first down.
Danny Montana. They came out with a spectacular opening drive, and you just kind of sense like, oh my, I mean, they've got it figured out. But, they've had a ton of penalties, they've had 2 turnovers, and you just can't do this on the road.
The first one, the fumble, obviously, but that interception by Armando Curry could turn out to be the TSN turning point if they can't turn this around here. Lots of time to go, though. Stampeders have to try to move the football. Have had no success since that opening drive. Crandall, time here. Down the left side, Albert Connell.
And that's good offense. Go 4 receivers to the wide side of the field. Every team does it. I love it. It's quads to the field. You're going to get one-on-one backside, regardless of whether they're in a zone or man-to-man. The zone turns into man-to-man anyway. You got your best receiver, Albert Connell, isolated on the backside. He's a great route runner, and he makes a good play on David Sanchez. And now you get a good first down, but it's the formation that gives you those opportunities.
Again, they've only run the football once here tonight. And they're throwing, it looks like, again. Crandall, flag on the play. Throws it over the middle. Catch made by Nicholas Lewis and another first down. A 17-yard pickup, but that might be coming back again.
Well, if it's coming back, which I do believe it is, this is going to start to wear you out as an offense.
Offside. Calgary number 83. Repeat first down.
It was Connell.
You know what? Offense is all about executing, and you get in a fluid
rhythm,
motion and rhythm. You got it. And you know what? There's no rhythm right now.
There's backup quarterback Tommy Jones, who came into the game in the second half in Calgary. Matt Dunnigan said he just could see it in Marcus Crandall's eyes that he wasn't ready to play. He has said, though, that Marcus Crandall is his guy. And he will go the distance with him. Crandall in trouble again. Over the head, and another pick off by Curry. Look at the muffin run. There he goes. Curry, flag on the play. People in Montreal are going, we like this guy. And it's getting worse for the Stamps. Montreal ball. Armando Curry. How about this guy? Interception against Ottawa, returned it for a touchdown, has 2 picks here tonight. And that was not a well-thrown football. Crandall facing all kind of heat. And overthrew his receiver. Curry had an easy pick. And Calvillo back at work again. Cavill. What a spin. 5 yards. Stampeders penalties, though. You know, you look at the momentum they were picking up, some of that motion, and Next thing you know, they got Alouettes in their backfield, and the Alouettes have the football.
Well, it's just so tough. I mean, Calgary's made enough mistakes in the first half for a whole game, let alone just 1.5 quarters of play.
3 turnovers now here tonight. Calvillo to Cahoon. Ben Cahoon, most outstanding Canadian 2 years in a row.
Well, not surprising. 112 catches a year ago, and the way he's going this year so far, second in the league in yards receiving only to G. Simon, but he is just having himself a banner year again.
Made a catch for the ages in the Grey Cup game.
Oh, yes.
Big hands, great hands. Calvillo, quick toss, wide open. Touchdown, Cavill. Oh, man, the Alouettes are making it look easy here. A flag in the backfield. Calvillo was dropped. That touchdown's going to stand. Kwame Cavill.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Calgary number 56 will apply 15 yards on the kickoff.
Scott Coe right here.
Look how fast Calvillo gets rid of it, though, and the Stampeders bust the coverage downfield. They had 6 receivers out, 4 to the wide side, 2 to the weak side. There you see the roughing. But my, oh my, they made it look easy. But Calvillo, from the snap of the ball, knew right away where he was going.
They are stomping the Stamps right now, 27-7. Calgary Stampeders were on the field. They trailed 25-0. They scored first here tonight, but have given up 27 unanswered.
And here's how it happened. Quads to the field. Watch when Cahoon goes in here. Kwame Cavill just sits in the hole, but with 4 receivers to the wide side, they absolutely ignore Cavill. As soon as Calvillo got it, he recognized it, delivered it. My, oh my, they look fluid on offense tonight.
This kick will bounce out of bounds. Let's go down to Michael Whalen now.
Hey, here's Dan Yoakum, who's going to be inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Dan, what do you make of this game so far?
Well, it's great to see the Als playing to the caliber that they have back when we played. They're fantastic. They have the panache. They're psyched before the game. And I think they have a real good chance to create another dynasty.
Now, how does it compare to the teams that you played for in the 70s?
It's really hard to say. I'm just amazed at, the speed level. I'm an older guy now, obviously, but I'm sitting up there with Gord Judges and, Chuck Zapek, and we're just shaking our heads saying, hey, were we that fast? I don't know. But their defense is very impressive. I'm totally impressed by them. I think they're comparable to us, but once again, time will tell.
Okay, well, listen, congratulations on your induction. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, Dan Yoakum, as Victor Ike picks up a first down. Calgary really has to twirl this around. Speaking of greats, inducted this year into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, Ben Zambiazzi. You know him well, Larry
I
Highbaugh.
played with Ben. I played against Larry Highbaugh and Cal Murphy, of course, Louis, Dan Yoakum. You know what? Dan Yoakum played on some great teams, but if he's trying to figure out if his teams were as fast as this one, I don't think there's any way they were.
Crandall throwing it, no one home. Davis Sanchez, the former Stampeder, under it. Marcus Crandall started off with a flurry here tonight, but has sizzled and then fizzled.
Well, it's been tough for Marcus Crandall, as most quarterbacks that play against Montreal find out. I mean, he has not had a lot of time to throw. They've been relentless in the pressure, and they know it's coming. Calgary calls it the Montreal 7-up. They bring 7, and you know it's coming, but they do it in a variety of different ways, and somehow they always seem to get the mismatch.
They're getting some indigestion right now from 7-up.
I guess.
Inside 8 minutes, second quarter. Crandall, flag on the play. Movement on the line. No catch. Connell on the sidelines. Flags and penalties have not helped the Stampeders move the ball at all.
Well, this is not unlike what happened to Ottawa a week ago when they were here. We'll hear
offside.
the call.
Montreal number 96. Repeat, second down.
That was Tito Simpson.
But I guess you know what you have to try to do, and I know it's an uphill battle, but 27-7, you still got almost a half of a quarter to go here, 7:36. You got to try to fight your way back into this, and they get a break there at 2nd and 5. They have to convert and put some drives together. Keep the ball away from Montreal's offense right now.
Which they were able to do against the Tiger Cats, falling short. Ike. 3 yards. And he'll be short of a first down. This Alouettes defense has scored as many touchdowns as teams have scored against them.
And they've taken turns. I mean, here's Kevin Johnson in the opening game of the season. He has a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Then they have 3 interceptions for touchdowns. 2 by Anwar Stewart.
And that was the killer right there at McMahon.
Yes. And of course, the one last week by Elmondo Curry, the rookie, and he has another one tonight.
Montreal will get the football back again.
You know, coaches always say, gosh, if we can beat teams with defense and special teams, we have a chance to win a game. And, you know, if we get marginal offense, well, they got all 3.
Landry bursts outside. The mighty Mike brought down at his 9-yard line. 7-yard pickup. 27-7 Montreal. Well, this is the farthest the Montreal Alouettes have been pinned tonight, but nothing has been holding this team back. Calvillo, play action. Almost picked, but caught. Byron Anderson's first reception of the night. That's called the old Alouette bounce.
Well, no kidding. I mean, when things are going your way, they really are, because it looked like Howard Fields had a chance to maybe make this interception and make that Lysak, the middle safety who came over, excuse me, but Anderson, there he is. When things are going your way, I mean, you get all the breaks. Montreal makes a lot of their own breaks.
Anderson wide left now. Cahoon wide right. Looking for Anderson on the fly pattern. Anderson can't catch up with it. Well, if you were a billionaire, kind of, well, a little bit, almost like Leaf Pedersen. If you're a billionaire, what would you do for fun? If your name is Mark Cuban, you give your money away on national TV. The benefactor coming this fall down the dial on CTV. Mark Cuban, of course, the boss of the Dallas Mavericks, a .com billionaire, and no longer the boss of Steve Nash.
Yeah, no, he's gone. But, you know, when you get your own show as the benefactor, is that not in the category of more money than...
Oh, yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break. I'll watch it, though, just to see him.
Calvillo, no one home, almost picked. Joey Bose was there, and so for one of the first times tonight, the Alouettes have to boot the football away. Calvillo shredding the Stampeders here tonight, but their defense has been absolutely outstanding. The exception of that first drive when the Stampeders didn't move the football.
I guess what impresses me seeing the Alouettes now 2 weeks in a row is, Rod, the defense plays as hard in the fourth quarter at the end as they do in the first quarter. I mean, they are relentless with unbelievable speed.
Calgary might get good field position here, and it's up to McGarity. Almost blocked. Spiraling kick. McGarity at his 30. Goes back a few yards. And a flag behind the play. Calgary Stampeders will be hard pressed here now, and their next home game next week against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You can get tickets for that game, Calgary fans, 403-289-0258. One of the best places to watch football in Canada is McMahon Stadium. Season ticket holders over 23,000.
Yeah.
They love their Stampeders.
And I love going to Nick's place right after, across the street. I won't be there this year, though. No games in Calgary.
Well, this place, Montreal, has turned out pretty darn good too. 48 straight sellouts on the McGill campus. Penalty against Calgary. Ike goes up the middle, and again, only 4 or 5 yards for Victor Ike.
Well, Dwayne Butler coming off the edge. Here he is at the top. I mean, this guy, you talk about relentless. They've got 12 people on defense that just always want to come. They want to hurt people. Look at the hit by Kevin Johnson. He just drives Ike into the turf. But Butler with 3 sacks last week. He had 5 against Winnipeg a year ago.
4 minutes to go, second quarter. Out of the backfield, Juhas close to a first down. And it will be. They'll move the yardsticks. This is a great linebacking crew here in Montreal.
Well, it really is. I mean, you know, you could argue that they're the best in the league. There's some good linebacking cores, but the thing that impresses me is they just create havoc. It's not that they're good tacklers or they make interceptions. I mean, they do it all. They sack the quarterback. They can cover people. Again, it comes back to speed. They just have a tremendous amount of it.
First and 10 from the 33. Stamps have to move the ball now. Crandall picked again. Davis Sanchez, the former Stampeder, joins the pickoff party. Crandall tried to force that one in, and he's hearing it from Matt Dunnigan.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, Albert Connell, you know, I don't know how hard he came into the middle, but Davis Sanchez really fights through the football. The corner up in tight coverage, and I mean, you know, Connell tried to break it up, give him credit, but Davis Sanchez, he said, I'm gambling, I'm coming underneath off the hip, and there you see it. What a story in this game, the turnover department, and now Montreal is plus 13 on the year. They lead the league.
4th turnover of the night, 3rd pick. Sanchez, the former Stampeder. Mr. Hands, Cahoon. So the 3-minute warning. 27-7 Alouettes. We'll come back. The Stamps pay for another turnover on this drive. 2nd down in short yardage. That was Eric Lapointe. The last time these two teams met was a very close game at the half. This one could be over at the half, the way it's looking.
Well, last time, you know, right until a minute to go in the 3rd quarter when Anwar Stewart picked off a ball, I mean, it was a very close game. But, you know, you talk about the fans here in Montreal, and, you know, they come here looking to have a good party, and they're never usually disappointed at the performance of their team, and that sure makes it a lot more fun to come to a game knowing that they're probably going to win and probably going to give you a good show.
You know what you love to see? Again, a team that left Montreal. Remember the Concords and the Alouettes. Baltimore Stallions resurrected as the Alouettes thanks to U2 and the stadium fiasco at Olympic Stadium. They came here. A tree was in the end zone. They have made this a great place for football. Denson on the shovel. A big pickup and a flag on the play, and it's a holding call. It looks like it's going to come back. It might be Okeke. But now this stadium and what's happened here in Montreal has become a blueprint for the Canadian Football League, it seems.
Well, I think so. I mean, it's a very intimate venue where it's full and the atmosphere is good. I mean, I know they would love to have 10,000 more seats here if they could, but they have created a template.
A holding call. And what else is really cool here? Seeing the kids wearing CFL jerseys.
There's a lot of them.
A lot of Montreal Alouette jerseys. A lot of number 80s, number 13s, number 86s.
A lot of number 86s.
Guess what number they might start wearing soon? 22.
22.
Armando Curry. His rookie back has been outstanding. Calvillo. Another catch. Cavill splitting a seam. Another penalty, it looks like, in the backfield.
Rod, this is the best throw that Anthony Calvillo's made tonight. They get trips to the field, and watch this. He sees zone. See everybody clearing out. He throws that ball into the hole. Once the linebacker, he gets it over the top of Scott Coe. What a throw by Calvillo.
But watch this. Another late hit, roughing the passer. And it's Antoine Young, undisciplined play as well from the Stampeders. Another roughing the passer call.
You know, I think Matt Dunnigan's got some very talented players tonight, but you know what? They have come unglued with 4 turnovers and a host of penalties, and you're not going to win a lot of games like that.
Calvillo. Cahoon. It becomes redundant after a while, but they have formed one of the best combinations in the CFL, the 2 C's. What does he even need that wristband for? Just, okay.
Well, see,
Ben,
no,
get open.
Ben, get open. Well, he needs the wristband because he's one of the few quarterbacks that calls his own plays. And, I mean, when you have a veteran, I think it's the best thing to do because he gets a real feel for the game, and he knows how to set things up in his own mind. It's not somebody else trying to do a game plan for him. I mean, when you have a veteran, you can do those, and you see the numbers reflect.
He might have a 500-yard passing night. Incomplete pass. Copeland wanted a penalty.
Nah, it's just tough defense. You know, the fans in here in Montreal, they think, you know, he's supposed to score every time, and the other team, what are they supposed to lie down
Hey,
for
brother.
or what?
Hey, it's like, remember when the Montreal Canadiens were winning? Nothing but winning the Stanley Cup counts around here.
Well, you know, they've set a pretty high barometer here, but they certainly have the team that can live up to it. And, you know, going back to Ed Fillion's comment in the paper today about going 18-0, and you know, it wasn't a bragging kind of comment. He just said, look, I've never seen the talent level better, and I legitimately think we have a chance to do it. And, you know, some coaches would hate their players talking about that. Don Matthews endorses it. He said, well, tall order, but maybe they can.
Kellen is perfect. Fillion is living up to that comment.
There he is.
It's 30-7. 30 unanswered points by the Alouettes. And this is what Ed Fillion had to say in the Montreal Gazette. And he said, if we put a run together, it's definitely a possibility. 18-0. Great goal to have. Nothing negative about it. He kind of backtracked a little bit, but once you put it out there, it's out there.
Oh, yeah. But, you know, Don Matthews also said, you know, I don't mind them saying that because, you know, this is what they call a big stretch goal for this team. If this is what they need to be motivated, then so be it.
This is an awesome football team, as we've seen so far out of the starting game.
Well, you know, the way I look at it, and probably most other teams look at it, when you get ready to play a team, you kind of say on offense, well, there's a couple of areas on defense that we think we can maybe exploit. And same thing, you know, when you look at somebody's offense, well, maybe we can exploit this. I don't know where you try to exploit this team.
You can talk all you want, and there are some people love him, hate him, can't ignore Don Matthews.
No.
This guy, undeniably, winningest coach in CFL history. His players play for him, his teams win. They continue to win. Now McGarity again. Almost tackled there and tripped up, but a 25-yard gain on the return. And Marcus Crandall back in the game with 1:40 to go. It is mandatory right now if the Stampeders want to get in this football game in any way, shape, or form to score here before, get some sort of point on the board before halftime.
You know, Rod, when you see Crandall's numbers, if you recall early when they had success, he started 6 of 7. So now he's 3 of 9 since then, and it's kind of been all downhill.
Again, credit the Montreal defense, though. They have been in his face all night. Lewis, a flea flicker. Nowhere to go. And a penalty flag.
I'm not sure that they thought he was over the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he may have been. He says he wasn't. It's pretty close.
It was awfully close. I have the advantage of just seeing a quick replay, and the referees have had a little conference.
Dangerous pass to Lewis in the backfield. He had to grab that, otherwise that could be a 6 going the other way again. 4 turnovers in the first half here tonight. And it was turnovers that did the Stampeders in a couple of weeks ago against this Alouette team in McMahon Stadium. They just came a little later. Frustration continues for Matt Dunnigan and the Stampeders. 1:30 to go before halftime. 23-point Alouette lead. Crandall down the sideline. Again, another overthrow.
You know, they really fooled Crandall right there. One of the few times that Montreal has played zone tonight. They don't do it a lot, but they rolled up the corner. Davis Sanchez, he took the short flat, and then in behind he had help from Kelly Malvo, but absolutely fooled Crandall, fooled the wide receiver, and you know, Montreal, they just do it to you in so many ways.
Last time it was surprising that Matt Dunnigan went to Tommy Jones in the second half. Will he go with Marcus Crandall the distance? He says that he's going to keep Crandall in there, but right now it's looking like a blowout. Landry is back. The Stampeders have been able to contain him so far, and it's blocked. The kick is blocked. Flag on the play. Montreal ball. And it's going from bad to worse. Kerry Watkins with the block. Charlie Hebert got a close-up introduction to number 81, Kerry Watkins. Here it is.
And here he is right here coming. Now, I honestly believe Charlie Hebert, the kicker, was awfully slow. You be the judge here. I mean, he's really... He takes a long time to get that ball off. And Kerry Watkins with the block, and it just goes from bad to worse for the Calgary Stampeders.
And you know, Montreal Alouettes will keep putting the hammer down. One thing about this team, they do not stop.
No, they don't.
Injured Stampeder. So we'll take a timeout and come back to Molson Stadium in a moment.
Wherever seas are sown, the name that's known is Firestone, where the rubber meets the road.
Sports Center after the game tonight. Corey Ward and Dan O'Toole standing by. We'll have highlights of this. There'll be a lot of highlights for the Montreal Alouettes, that's for sure, unless the Stampeders can kick it into gear in the second half. Calvillo, dump pass out of the backfield. Lapointe, there's another flag, and that might be a holding call. It is first down yardage for the Alouettes, who have put on a clinic here after giving up the opening drive to the Stampeders. And it will go back. The only thing that has stopped Montreal has been the occasional penalty call.
That's really true. I mean, that's really the only thing that stopped them when they've been trying to keep these drives going. But Calvillo's had a very, very comfortable evening. And Rod, to me, it all starts with protection, and he has had a lot of good protection tonight.
He's spread out the offense. He's used his receivers. He's used Denson. A minute to go. Calvillo backpedaling. Throws that one out of bounds. The guy who was the most outstanding player last year, most outstanding player in the Grey Cup in 02 when his team won. And that year, of course, they started 8-0, and over the last 6 quarters, look at those numbers.
Yeah, it started in the Ottawa game last week, and you know they were up for that one. Both teams were 3-0, and coming in, Ottawa was trying to find out how good they were, and they found out that they're not at Montreal's level yet. And Calvillo's been letter perfect, 4 touchdowns, has yet to throw an interception in the last 6 quarters. And for Denny Crehan and the defense coordinator on the left there, and Matt Dunnigan, I mean, this is baptism under fire tonight.
Huge challenge. very good football team. Calvillo, Copeland, oh, he got mushed over the middle, but it was overthrown. And John Grace looking at Copeland and making sure he's all right. Milo Lewis was there. So they will kick the football now, and they will punt it away. Matt Kellett will. With a minute to go here in the second quarter. And the Alouettes looking to make it a 5-0 start. Again, they've had 3-0 starts at the very least, really, over the last 6 or 7 years. 8-0 2 years ago, and again, that was the year they won the cup. McGarrity's at his goal line. Kellett, and that was close to being blocked. There's a flag back where McGarrity is, and that might be too many men. And he is gobbled up in the end zone, does not take the knee, but usually when the flag is way back like that, that means that there might be some numbers off. We'll see. So the Stampeders with 49 seconds to go before halftime. Trey Junkin, the special teams coordinator. It has been a nightmarish night for the Stampeders in all respects, except for that opening drive.
Well, it's funny, you know, because teams come in here with such optimism.
And look at this. Too many men at Calgary.
Daryl Andralin is the special teams coordinator for the Montreal Alouettes, but teams come into Montreal with just great expectations and hoping that they're going to put together the perfect game plan and execute it, and no different for Trey Junkin, the special teams coordinator of Calgary, and Matt Dunnigan. And you know, it just hasn't worked out this way. They've self-destructed and beat themselves, and usually that's what the good teams make you do. You know?
Alouettes do pick up a single. 31-7. Can they move this football? That one is picked up. Nicholas Lewis. That is only a pickup of 6 yards, so 2nd and 4.
Now watch Kevin Johnson in the middle. I mean, he just keeps everything underneath him. Originally, he was going to take Sanford, then it dumped off. He comes up and makes the play. And, you know, these guys are not only great sackers, but they're good in their coverage. Really solid.
Dropping back this time. Sideline route for Connell. Going for broke. So it will be 3rd and 3 with 23 seconds left. And Matt Dunnigan and the Stampeders are going to punt it away. Charlie Hebert is going to try to get it away a little quicker this time, to be sure.
Well, I mean, you know, the last block that was made by Kerry Watkins was a great block, but I just felt like Hebert was a little slow getting it off. And, you know, and he's a rookie, but you got to know against Don Matthews' team, special teams, you know, they always have a block in there at some point in the game and try one. So you've got to think, I might have to speed my rhythm up just a little bit.
And he does. End over ender. Might give Landry a chance for another return. Landry, no yards. Ezra Landry finally brought down. Really 5 feet nothing to this guy.
You towered over him.
I like that. One of the few football players you can. Coming up, 12 seconds. The fellas at the half. The Alouettes looking poised. Already only 2 quarters in.
I think what the fellas are going to say is pretty much what we've said. We're watching a very, very dynamic football team here in Montreal.
And a team where their defense is almost set on scoring themselves every time up.
Oh, you know that. They're thinking, let's create some opportunities on our own.
So Calvillo will drop to his knee and play this out. Even the fans here want more points.
I mean, these fans have really been spoiled with some great football since Montreal returned as the Alouettes.
And here we go. This will be the final play. This will be it. What a first half explosion by the Montreal Alouettes. 31 unanswered. Jermaine Copeland back in the lineup. Hasn't missed a beat. Boy, talk about the tale of two locker rooms here. Stampeders a huge mountain to climb here in the second half. They trail 31-7 on Wendy's CFL Live.
Welcome back. Dave, Chris, and Jock with you. And in case you tuned in a little late and didn't know, Calgary was leading this game at one point. They scored early, looked pretty good on their opening drive with a touchdown to going to Denny, Montana. But you heard Rod Black just mention there 31 straight points by Montreal as they have forced mistakes and Calgary has made mistakes and taken penalties. 4 turnovers leading to 20 Montreal points, 3 interceptions. Crandall had 4 coming into tonight. He's almost matched his season total.
Well, David, it's fun watching Montreal and their defense and the way teams try to attack that defense. It becomes a chess game, but it's not just a chess game, it's also how you execute. So here's the chess game part of it. Sanford here is a receiver going in motion. He's acting like he's going to run a pattern, but he's going to come in here and block. The man who's covering him right here, well, he said, fine, you're going to block, I'm going to go to the quarterback. So Montreal still has an odd man advantage on the blitz, but this little scheme does buy Calgary a little bit of time. And I just see him gaining time. Now he's going to fade back, and he's throwing off his back foot, which he did on this touchdown pass in the first quarter, but with different results. And that's why I talk about execution. It's one thing to have a chess match out there and to be, playing with one another, Schultz, and trying to find ways to get an advantage. But when you get the ball in your hand and the receiver open, you can't throw it to the other guy.
No, not at all, Jock. But with Anthony Calvillo right now, he is evaluating and executing so quickly. I mean, the time in between his evaluation, then his physical execution is very small. Let's take a look at one example here where you have the rusher from the top, a little pump fake to get that rusher's feet off the ground. Then he just throws the football exactly where the voided area is. Another example, and notice how fast all this is, because all of a sudden you're going to see Calvillo drop back after the dance, and he's going to throw the football with precision. Bang! All that happens within 1, 2, 3 seconds at the very most, and that is a sign of a great quarterback when that evaluation and that physical execution are so close together, Dave. What?
So this is called the mental evaluation to physical execution ratio.
That's right.
Very small.
You evaluate and you physically execute.
Is that kept in the stats?
It makes sense.
I love the big words.
It may not make sense to you, but I bet you it makes sense to Canada.
Listen, I think
who wants to take that bet?
I think there's a shot in there somewhere. All right, let's see what Canada had to say about this. Who should be the feature back in Montreal's two-back system? We asked the question, you logged on, and it was a pretty...
Anthony Calvillo, big lead. Here's Michael Whalen with Matt Dunnigan.
Matt, you had a good start, but turnovers killed you in that first half.
Yeah, you got that right, Michael. It was, tremendous start for us here. You want to get off to a quick start when you're playing in somebody's backyard like this, especially against the Alouettes. We did, and then turnovers caught up to us, Michael. And we've got to be more secure with the football in order to have success against a good team like this.
You're going to stick with Marcus, or are you going to try Tommy Jones?
Oh, I'm staying with Marcus. We just need to shore some things up front and continue to attack. 25 points last week, we were down. We scored 25 here. It was 32-31. That's a heck of a task, but you know what? I think this football team's got the juice to do that.
All right, good luck to you, man.
Thanks, Michael.
Well, Matt Dunnigan's done that before when he was a quarterback. Maybe he thinks that Crandall can engineer that kind of comeback. They did against the Tiger Cats, albeit in a loss. Marcus Crandall did not have a good first half with the exception of the opening drive. The offensive line, though, did not offer him much protection, and that was a lot to do with the defense of the Alouettes.
Yeah, the only trouble is, though, Rod, when you play Montreal, you just know that up front your guys are going to have some challenges and you're going to make some mistakes and you're not going to get the protection you might get when you play other teams. So, you have to be prepared for it. You have to face the adversity, and the biggest thing Marcus Crandall has to do is get the ball off quicker.
Landry finds a seam, cuts back to the 32, and is brought down there. They have contained Ezra Landry tonight, but they have not been able to stop Anthony Calvillo.
Well, he's really been on a roll, and there you see his numbers, 17-25. A terrific first half, no blemishes. A couple of touchdowns. On the other hand, Crandall, remember, he started off 6 for 7 early in the first quarter, and it was all downhill from there. And of course, for him, 3 interceptions tonight so far in one half of football, and not what you really want, obviously, to have occur.
5 first half turnovers. They're going to have to protect the football, and they're going to have to find a way to come back here. Byron Anderson. Big target. 6 feet 4 inches from Grambling. Played 6 games last year in Montreal. 20 catches, 289 yards.
And I really like him. You know, you just said it, big target. He's a real glider. We saw that last week in the Ottawa game. Huge stride and a graceful runner. And boy, he's been just a terrific guy on the outside to stretch the defense and get that vertical game going.
As they go vertical again, Calvillo swamped. Antoine Young brings him down, and Calvillo is hot.
You have to start and just take it in small doses. And I mean, they get a 2 and out right off the bat. Calgary does with the Montreal offense. So you take it as a positive. You're going to get pretty good field position, and Antoine Young gets the good jump. Here he is right there. He just loops to the middle and comes right up the gut. Here he comes. A nice stunt up the middle. And Montreal doesn't pick it up, and Calvillo takes the sack.
Luke Fritz right in front of Calvillo. Watched Young sack him. Kellett. Good kick. Nicholas Lewis the return this time. Lewis up to midfield, was hit by his own player. And that was a big collision down there. Charles Assman, he's hurt. So too is William Loftus. This was a 4-car pileup.
Well, Lewis with some pretty good acceleration right here, and then Assman trying to come back and help out. Boom, what a collision that was.
Yikes.
I mean, that's tough when your own teammates are getting you.
Well, he's up. So now you've got to score early and you've got to score often. I mean, it's Matty said it best.
Well,
they got 25 points here to get back in the football game. And they'll have to do a repeat of the game against Hamilton. But it's a tall order against the Montreal Alouettes. From the 55-yard line. Crandall out of the backfield. Diving on the play, but no catch.
And I really fault Marcus Crandall for that. That's just poor technique by the quarterback. He really had no pressure in his face, and he was throwing off his back foot quickly. I mean, he had 4 receivers, 3 of them clearing out, 1 guy open underneath. That's an easy ball to complete, but I thought his technique of off his back foot was just wrong. I mean, you got to step up. You've watched Calvillo tonight. When he steps up, boy, he really delivers strikes.
Going for Celicio Sanford on that last play. 2nd and 10. And a whistle. And movement on the line. Let's go down to Michael Whalen again with an injury update. Michael?
Yeah, if you check the sidelines, guys, you'll see that Denny Montana has some ice on his right hand. He fractured it in the first quarter, but he kept playing. But he's done. He can't catch anything now. So that's it for Denny Montana.
Not with that ice bag on. Denny Montana, Montreal born and raised, used to be an Alouette, played his college ball at Concordia. 2nd down and 15, penalty against Calgary. Crandall looking right, spinning, look out, dances, throws, and picks up about 5 yards, but will be well short of the first down. And Marcus Crandall is going to go to bed tonight, and all he's going to see in his sleep are blue, red, and white jerseys.
Well, they just come from everywhere, and it's so tough to block. And when you play Montreal, I've said this before tonight, you're going to have a lot of pressure, and you just got to hope that every once in a while that you can make a big play against this defense. And you know, Calgary hasn't made a lot of big plays. First drive they had was kind of a nickel and dime drive when they scored the touchdown, a long pass, of course, to Denny Montana for the touchdown. But you need, against an aggressive defense, you need to have some big plays against it.
Hebert gets his leg into this one. Landry back at his 5. Goes up the middle, Ezra Landry. Look out! Ezra Landry to the 40. Past Hebert to midfield. you, the little guy with the big hair who needs a nickname. Hey? He needs a nickname. This guy is dynamite. Little E. Whatever he does, whenever he touches the ball, he's dangerous. So is this guy, Denson.
Well, let's go back and have a look at Ezra Landry and just show you what all good kick returners do. They assess the situation quickly, and when they get that first little seam right there, they have the acceleration to bust through that hole, and really only have to beat one guy. Now, Scott Dybert did a great job to catch him from behind, but Ezra Landry showed you get the seam, boom, you threw it.
There was
And
the
it
gizmo.
doesn't take much for him.
There's the gizmo and the pinball and ordinary superstar here, Johnny Rogers. His time was outstanding. They love him here already. He was plucked off the Edmonton roster. And you remember Mac Heron. Some viewers might not, but Mini Mac Heron was one of the smallest guys in the league who was as dynamic as this guy. Maybe it's Mini E or whatever. He's something else, this guy.
Mini E. I'm not sure.
No,
I like that one.
either.
No, I don't like that one. I'm not going to even try to come up with one tonight.
Anyway, he doesn't need a nickname. Just call him Ezra.
Let his teammates take care of that. All I know is that he's given them the return game, that now all of a sudden, you know, here's one more weapon they got in the quiver. One more arrow. Ooh.
The arrow. I like that. Ooh. 22-year-old out of Southern. It's on the New Orleans Saints roster for a while. The Edmonton practice roster, as mentioned. And look out here again. Ben Cahoon just keeps piling up the catches.
Well, and they got a really good matchup they wanted. They got Wes Lysek, the middle safety, coming up and covering Ben Cahoon as the number 3 receiver to the wide side of the field. And, you know, he's just not used to coming up in coverage like that. He slips and falls, and Cahoon picks up some yards after the catch. But, again, the formation that Montreal used, and they caught Calgary man-to-man, and the middle safety had to cover the number 3 receiver, a tough task.
Cahoon is the leading CFL receiver right now. Denson outside, swallowed up. Cahoon began the night 15 yards behind Geroy Simon of the BC Lions. So he surpassed him. And the Lions, of course, have a bye week. An interesting week this week, as you see Cahoon number 1, where we have interconference play. East meets West. The East this season 8-0. Any rhyme or reason to the East domination so far? Some people say it's at quarterback.
Well, it's one of those things. I mean, you know, quarterbacking's been pretty solid in the East. You look at Danny McManus, he's had a great start. He got knocked out of the game last week with a concussion, but I understand he will play. They got a tough task going to Edmonton Saturday night, but quarterbacking been good. But quarterbacking been good in the West, Rod, with Jason Moss. I mean, what are they, 1-3, and he's played really well. So Casey Printers has played well, and they're all under 500.
Hard to believe that the two teams in the West tied for first place are 1-2.
There's really, there's really some good matchups this weekend. Toronto, Saskatchewan tomorrow night, second half of our doubleheader is going to be a great matchup, and Ottawa, Winnipeg that we've got is good.
Calvillo, oh my goodness, another catch. Kwame Cavill has made some circus grabs here tonight. He pays for that one. He has no fear in the seam.
No, he doesn't, and he'll go up and make his quarterback look very, very good to hang on to these footballs. And Joey Bozé is the defensive back that can really deliver a blow. And you see Joey Bozé, he's just reading the quarterback in here, and when he sees the ball in the air, he knows he's got a free shot. He makes the most of it, but give Kwame Cavill all kinds of credit. He knows it's coming, but he hangs on to the football, and you make your quarterback's numbers look really good when you make plays like that.
What a great throw.
Nice touchdown earlier tonight by Kwame Cavill.
By Calvillo. Cavill to Cavill. Calvillo to Denson, and slips at the 3, and there was a flag on the play. Looks like at the line of scrimmage. Calvillo's not happy again. And we'll get the call from Jake.
Holding. Montreal number 5. Repeat first down.
Eric Lapointe.
Well, he was protecting on the backside. It looked kind of harmless to me, but they call it and denies the catch to Denson.
9 minutes to go, third quarter. Stampeders need a stop. Or you can almost put this one in the win column. Cavill again. William Fields bringing him down. First and 20, he picked up about 6 yards. Kwame Cavill's had himself a good night. One of the weapons for Anthony Calvillo.
One of the many weapons.
One of the many.
You know, O'Neal Wilson's a pretty good wide receiver. I don't believe he's even touched the football tonight. You know what? The toughest thing for Anthony Calvillo at times may be to keep everybody happy. I mean, he's got Copeland, Cahoon. Thyron Anderson really hasn't touched the ball tonight.
Yeah, when everybody talks about the receiving corps in the league, they look at Edmonton, they look at Winnipeg with some of their star receivers. Montreal's tough to beat. Calvillo will take off, and he's down at the 5-yard line, short of the first down. He had daylight, and Anthony Calvillo not even deciding to slide into the 5-yard line. Took a hit, looked like he took a hit on the knee too, and he's still chirping.
Well, I don't think the coaching staff, when it's 31-7, probably wants to see this,
No.
but the opportunity presented itself, and you know, he's sneaky good with his feet, Rod. I really believe he is. He's an underrated runner, and you know, nobody knows better than the Argonauts when he ran one in for a touchdown to go to the Grey Cup at the Eastern Final. So he's sneaky good with his feet to pick up first downs. He didn't get it there, but he made something good out of a bad situation.
2 carries for 26 yards. A lot of running backs in the league. Actually, I think he has as many yards tonight as the Calgary backfield. Kellett, perfect so far tonight. Continues to be. 34-7 is the score. Wendy's CFL Live from Montreal. Night for the Montreal defense. Dwayne Butler among the sack brigade. Montreal leads the CFL in sacks, and for every sack in the game, Purolator, of course, donates the quarterback's weight in food to a local food bank. Purolator, Canada's biggest courier company, over 90 tons of food going to local food banks last year. Dwayne Butler with 4, tied for the sack lead in the CFL, the Montreal linebacker. Well, Marcus Crandall, as Matt Dunnigan said, will go the distance here tonight. But they got to put some points on the board. That was a low toss, but picked up. Nicholas Lewis out of the backfield.
You know what Montreal also does very well, Rod, is tackle. I mean, you know, Armando Curry's only 5'8", 175 pounds, but I mean, he was the first guy in there, and I know they got 7 yards, but he made the tackle. Like, he really didn't go any farther, and well, these guys they don't miss many.
2nd and 2. Knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Mark Megna there, Dwayne Butler there. Looked like Butler got a hand on it.
Yeah, it sure did look like Butler, and you know, he was just stringing the play out. He wasn't even coming hard. But again, he's an impact player and always around the football. You get a look at Butler just on the outside, and he's just reading the eyes of the quarterback.
So Hebert to kick again. Already had a punt blocked here tonight. Might look to go out of bounds with Landry. So dangerous. There's Landry on a line drive. Cuts up the middle again. Landry still on his feet. Jitterbugs to the 41. Where Calvillo can vote for the Rogers player of the game by Going to text messaging on your cell phone, tap in Go CFL, tap in the corresponding team and the number, or go to the internet right now, CFL.ca. Excellent website. Rogers Player of the Game. Rogers Your World right now. A lot of candidates. Kwame Cavill, Jermaine Copeland, Anthony Calvillo. Anyone with the letter C in their last name has a chance.
I think you're right.
Ben Cahoon. Denson. He's stuffed right there. Antoine Young's had a pretty good game here tonight. Have not heard a lot in the middle from Joe Fleming.
Well, you really don't hear a lot from the 3 down linemen of Calgary. They sell themselves out, try to take 1 and 2 players so the linebackers can make all the tackles. In fact, you know, coming into this, Joe Fleming was the leader on the defensive line with tackles with 4. And I mean, everybody else in the linebacking core has at least 11 or 12. So you won't hear much about them unless they get a sack.
Most outstanding defensive player in the CFL last year. Calvillo, no one home except for Bose. That was miscommunication. Broken pattern. So Kellett will kick it away.
Well, here you go. Here's the tackles from the linebacking core, and the lowest number was 11, Brian Clark. And then, of course, Joe Fleming leads the linemen with 4. So you see the strategy. Plug holes, take 1 or 2 people with you, and let the linebackers be the premier tacklers on your team.
Great kick here from Kellett. Nicholas Lewis back. Drops the football, got it back, luckily. One lucky guy there. Taking the punts now for Wayne McGarity. Marcus Crandall and the Calgary Stampeders may be running out of plays and running out of clock here. 5 minutes left, third quarter. Again, a couple of quick strikes, you can get back in it, but they have shown no signs against this defense of moving the football.
Well, I mean, what they need to do is just to try to go for respectability here.
Albert Connell wide right. Juhas wide left. Catch made, another first down by Nick Lewis. Well, it all happened, if you're just joining us, really in the first half. Turnovers.
That was a great play by Curry to pick that ball off, and Crandall just was throwing off his back foot. He was never comfortable, and Curry interception right there. That was a terrific one by Davis Sanchez, but 4 picks in the first half of play for Montreal really told the story.
Davis Sanchez knows Crandall well, teammates in Calgary. Gets an interception. Again, a bad toss, a hurried throw by Marcus Crandall. If you were counting hurries here tonight, it would be astronomical.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be able to count that high, but you know, he had some miscommunication with his receiver right there. You know, this is tough for a coach. It's tough for John Jenkins. It's tough for Matt Dunnigan. You know, Marcus Crandall hasn't played very well tonight, but heck, he was MVP of the Grey Cup in 2001. It's not like he's a rookie. He's a veteran, and you know, at some point in time, he's really going to have to step up. And he really hasn't stepped up too solidly tonight.
Team has struggled really the last couple of seasons. Crandall, and he's picked again. Baron Miles back in the lineup, pitches it off. Tim Strickland is out of bounds. The nightmare continues. And you know, in blowouts, this stuff happens. Fourth pickoff of the night. Baron Miles back in the safety spot. Gives it off to Tim Strickland. Another poorly thrown football by Marcus Crandall.
Well, one of the few times that he really does step up into the pocket, but he was jarred just as he let the ball go, and it lost all its momentum, and now the fun starts.
And the crowd wants the Alouettes to find the end zone again. Calvillo still at the helm. 3:40 to go. If it goes like this, we might see Ted White, their backup. Crandall on the sidelines. Another first down. Jermaine Copeland, another reception. Crandall and Matt Dunnigan started 6 of 7 since that time, the 4 pickoffs.
Well, it's funny, they started out the opening drive, they go all the way down for a touchdown, and you and I are looking at each other going, maybe we got a game here tonight, but just didn't work out that way.
Second and short yardage, Denson with a first down. But this has happened before. When you come to Montreal, done games here, whenever the Alouettes, it seems, get in a little trouble or in a hole, Anthony Calvillo, the experience he has, this is a team that never seems to panic, no matter what the deficit, where they are. It goes to show you why they have been so dominant. Grey Cup champion 2 years ago, Grey Cup game last year.
One of the reasons why they don't panic is because they can do it to teams in so many ways. If the offense is struggling, boom, defensive touchdown or special teams touchdown. So, they've got so many weapons.
Calvillo shovel to Denson. Scott Coe brings him down. No gain there, but Autry Denson is just another piece of the puzzle. This was last week against Ottawa.
Well, he had quite a day. He had 4 touchdowns on the night, 1 through the air, 3 on the ground, and a couple were set up by Tyrone Anderson's great catches, but that was a great run right there to get a touchdown. Helmets flying off and everything, and Denson sure had a night to remember.
And he moves closer to the rushing leader, Josh Ronick, tonight. We'll see Ronick tomorrow on TSN. Calvillo brought down. Joe Fleming finally in on a play. He's really been nullified here tonight by that big O-line.
Well, I told you, the only way you're going to talk about Joe Fleming is if he gets a sack, because it won't be tackles and things like that. And a guy like him, Joe's a real veteran. He's a guy that's going to come hard all the time, and this kind of game is just driving him nuts. I sure love the way Joe Fleming plays.
So Matt Kellett.
He's been perfect tonight.
Yeah, leading kicker in the CFL. Just
Did I do it to him?
Well, you've been known to do it to a few people.
No.
37. You did it to him. You did it to him.
I didn't do it on purpose. I just mentioned it.
They're human. They missed a field goal.
Yeah.
Tommy Jones, he did tell Michael Whalen that he would stick with Marcus Crandall. Maybe that's what you have to do right now. Just kind of find a way to get something going. From the backside, another overthrow by Crandall, who is leveled.
Rod, last week when I did the Ottawa game here and they were getting pasted by Montreal and Joe Paopao left Kerry Joseph in, and I understand that a lot of Ottawa media were really on Paopao for not making a switch. We'll have a look as the hit as Crandall steps up to make the play. He had lots of time there to get rid of it, but I heard the media took a lot of heat on Paopao this week, and I thought it was a great opportunity for Kerry Joseph to get some great playing time against that kind of up-tempo defense, and maybe tonight's the same situation.
And
he's not a rookie, young quarterback. He's been around for 4 years, but maybe Matt's saying it, and Jenkins are saying the same thing. Look, you can never see this kind of defense in practice. Let's try to iron out some stuff.
Very
Offside,
good point.
Montreal number 75. Still second down.
Mr. 18-0, Ed Fillion.
I just couldn't understand the attitude when I heard in Ottawa that they took a lot of the team took criticism for leaving Kerry Joseph in. That just defies logic to me. People don't know football if they say that stuff.
And Joe Paopao defending his choice by saying that Kerry Joseph, even though he's 30 years old, is still a young quarterback. He hasn't played much quarterback, being a strong safety in the NFL. Miles are so important. Wayne McGarity, the reception, but Marcus Crandall was just rocked by Tim Strickland, and there's a roughing the passer call. It'll move the football even more.
Wow, this is a free shot. Here's Tim Strickland just
Major foul,
unloading.
roughing the passer.
The ball is
Montreal
gone. You be the judge.
First down.
Yeah. Hit him
There's
in the
a hand
head.
hit.
He might have hit him late, too, as well in the head. The ball's gone. Whoa, man.
Awfully tough.
Oh,
not to defend any of those guys, but awfully tough when you're at full steam to stop.
Yep, I agree. I agree, but when you go head hunting.
Yeah, the head hit they are trying to eliminate. Crandall. And there's an injured Stampeder. We'll go talk with Dunnigan and company, but let's take another look at this hit by Strickland. That was a head hit.
Well, I'll tell you, Marcus Crandall's a tough customer to just step up from that one, because that was helmet to chin. Oh, my. You know what, they tell quarterbacks sometime, more when they're running, they used to run option and stuff like that, but if you can, when you release it, tuck your chin right in so you don't have it exposed, but he didn't have time to do any of that.
So the ball moves all the way down to the 35-yard line with the penalty and the catch by McGarity. This is the closest to the Montreal end zone that Calgary has had since their opening drive. They've been nowhere near here because of the Montreal defense. Well, Crandall and the Stamps might be. Final play barring penalty, third quarter. Gets it off. And close to a first down, maybe 9 yards. Nick Lewis again. That's the gun. Third quarter has expired. They're having fun in Montreal. The Owls have a huge lead.
At the quarter, brought to you by Reebok, the only brand that hangs in every CFL locker.
Well, the guy said, but that was a serious lick that Marcus Crandall took, and he stays in the game. Good on him, because it's been an awful long night. Anthony Calvillo has played well, but as we've seen in here, his receivers, the Cahoons, the Copelands, but even guys like Kwame Cavill make them look good.
Well, I always joke with my buddy Jock here. I say, Jock, you never got hit as much as I did when I played football. Nowhere near, but I tell you, when those receivers get hit, they get whacked. Watch how premeditated this shot is from Joey Bose on Kwame Cavill. Notice here's the catch, there's the eyes. The eyes are right underneath the chin, going for that knockout shot. And if you are a receiver that's going to support your quarterback, you sacrifice your body to make those type of shot. It's a tough position. That's what I like about football, because outside of the punters and the kickers, everyone gets whacked. And it's how you react from after getting hit like that either makes you or breaks you as a football player.
And Jock, when he showed us his eyes at that moment of before collision, show us what the receiver's eyes look like at that point. Yeah, something like that.
And you know what? That was what's so impressive about that catch,
Yeah.
because he knew he was going to get hit. Most times you don't. I tell people that the receiver takes a big hit. Yeah. How'd you do that? How'd you do it? I didn't even know it was coming, But that one, you're up there and you see it coming. You're like, okay, well, take my licking, and good on him. Good job.
And that was one of two catches where he got himself into a position where he knew he was going to get licked. Kwame Cavill getting the job done. Montreal still up big.
Calgary Stampeders down by 28 points. 4 converted touchdowns. Long road to hoe here. Penalty. Crandall throwing. Nobody there. Well, let's take a look at the numbers. Our stats after 3 quarters brought to you by Smirnoff Ice. Who knows where it'll go? Right there.
You got it. Yeah, that and this. 20 points, and you have the ball off turnovers, and you got it for 10 more minutes. That's called a highly efficient offense and a very tired Calgary defense.
Ed Filion called for offside. So 1st and 10 from the 22-yard line. Stampeders need a score in a big way. Another tough toss there by Crandall to Celicio Sanford out of Middle Tennessee State. Crandall really hasn't thrown too many strikes here tonight, and a lot of that, again, he's partly to blame, but certainly everything has been on one leg. Every throw has been off one leg.
You're right. You're dead on. I mean, he's been off balance the entire evening, and then when he's had time, he's been so surprised he's had time. He still hasn't really set up in a good throwing position.
Well, big play here for the Stampeders. 2nd and 10. Need a first down. Over the middle. And close to a first down. Looks like they got it. Andre Arlane. Arlane from St. FX.
Well, there's Dwayne Butler right there. Fakes the blitz and then gets back so quickly in coverage. Now he's reading the quarterback's eyes and comes in and makes the play in Arlane. But, you know, they give you so many darn tough looks to look at. I mean, he fakes the blitz, gets back and makes the tackle.
3rd down and a short yardage. Crandall in the shotgun. Hand off to Ike. Up the middle. Touchdown, Calgary. So they're on the board again. First time since the first drive. And maybe this will spark the Stampeders. Victor Ike.
Wow, good block by the center, Jamie Crysdale, to spring him loose, number 67. There's the lead block on the middle linebacker, Kevin Johnson, and Victor Ike gets it into the end zone. There hasn't been a lot to cheer about for Calgary tonight, but they finally get their 2nd touchdown of the evening.
Well, 35-14 now. Stamps like Ike. A few more. Will this be an onside kick? No, they'll send it down to Ezra Landry, or they'll send it out of bounds. Well, good news for the Stampeders. They score. The bad news is they're still down by a lot. And more bad news, Wayne McGarity tackled on that play and apparently hurt on that play. As he gets up and leaves the ball game. Let's go down to Michael Whalen. Michael.
Yeah, what happened to McGarity is that he separated his right shoulder, and he was in terrible pain on the bench. They were trying to get his jersey off, and they couldn't even get a good look at it. Finally, they put some ice in. He's gone into the dressing room, and he's done for the night.
That is terrible news on top of bad news tonight for the Stampeders. Van Cahoon, another reception.
And that's a great matchup, too. They get Cahoon on the linebacker, George White. Not that he can't cover people. He's very quick as an outside linebacker, but I sure like my chances with Cahoon on a linebacker. 7 catches on the night for Ben Cahoon. Came into this game with 33, now has 40 on the season.
34 yards away from a 4th straight 100-yard receiving game. There's another one. And he's met by Wes Lysak. And that'll be a first down on the spot. Looks pretty close. It'll be a first down for the Alouettes. He is Mr. Reliable and Mr. Durable. Cahoon plays every game. 113 straight games.
It's funny, last week against Ottawa, they really had the vertical game going. They really went over the top a bunch, but they really haven't had to do that or haven't even tried to do that tonight.
Calvillo, inside route. Copeland again. Calvillo's been Cahooning them, and he's been Copelanding them. Left side, right side.
Say that fast.
Yeah.
Well, they very, you know, early in the season, they didn't have the confidence on offense, and they just weren't playing that well. But you can see it now. It started a week ago against Ottawa, and it's carried over to tonight. This offensive group has tremendous swagger and confidence right now.
Short yardage. Looks like another first down. Behind the play, a couple of players are jawing. Eric Lapointe with the carry. And a penalty flag on the far side. Copeland involved over there. Looked like Nate Terry and Copeland were going back and forth. Anthony Calvillo, 30 of 35, only 5 misses here. And he hasn't missed by much either. He could have a perfect night, as a matter of fact.
Objectionable conduct. Montreal number 80, dead ball foul. First down.
Copeland on that far side, so that will move the ball back. Objectionable conduct call. 10:50 to go. Copeland an all-star. Cahoon an all-star. Calvillo an all-star. Denson. And at the line of scrimmage by John Grace, and a penalty flag again. And another penalty flag on the far side. And Nate Terry into it again. On the far side with Kerry Watkins. And this time, this one might go against Terry. He was involved with Copeland on the play previous. Let's sort this mess out. This gets to be garbage time now.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, it's tough. The players have to play
Offside.
it out.
Calgary number 98. Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Calgary number 11. First down.
Well, you were right. It was Nate Terry, and yeah, they're frustrated. It's not a good time of the game. There's 10 minutes to go. There's no doubt about who's winning this football game, and Calgary's been humiliated tonight, and they're a little ticked off. Montreal just keeps pouring it on.
First and 10 from the 35. High snap. Cahoon again. Cahoon on his feet still. Another first down. Closer again to another 100-yard game. And now they're piling up the numbers.
Well, it's been all Ben Cahoon on this drive, and they use him so effectively as the third receiver in. And he just gets to work against and find open spots, zone coverage right there. He splits the linebackers. Pretty easy play right there.
They beat you inside, they beat you outside. 9 receptions, 18 yards away from 100. Should get it here, maybe even on this play. This should be another big game, and it is down to the 5. Copeland. Jermaine Copeland having a monster night, returning to the Montreal lineup. 18 yards.
To the right of your screen, it's Copeland against Milo Lewis. Back to the outside. Lewis just having all kinds of trouble tonight with the Montreal receivers.
Down to the 6, first and goal. Denson and Lapointe in the backfield. Hand off to Denson. Antoine Young right there.
Denson, the ball carrier.
Autry Denson not having quite the night he had a week ago against the Ottawa Renegades.
Seemed like the last couple of weeks they really wanted to say, look, we can run the football when we want to, but tonight it just, one of those, they didn't have to, didn't want to.
You're right, absolutely right. In the last game against Calgary, Denson was a non-factor. Calvillo, end zone, wide open. Denson again. Touchdown. Number 6 on the season. Second of the night. Calvillo has been brilliant here tonight. The play calling, the execution. Denson could have had an easy chair in the end zone. They are now officially in cruise control. This puppy is over. 41-14. Another big one for the Alouettes. They're going to go to 5-0. They lead 42-14. 8 minutes to go. This is one where I think even both coaches just say, run this clock out.
Well, this was pretty easy to Autry Denson in the end zone. I mean, listen to the fans here. Molson Stadium, they absolutely love it. They appreciate the performance.
Celicio Sanford.
You know, going back to Calvillo's numbers, 33 of 38, you know how precise I am. That's an 82.5% completion rate. He has been absolutely at the top of his game tonight. And who knows, Ed Fillion, he talked about 18-0. I mean,
maybe.
You can't argue. It could be there.
Well, there's that familiar song in Montreal. Last year, 5 players on offense were all-stars. No Alouettes were all-stars last year. Crandall to Connell. He's been a very silent receiver here tonight. But isn't that amazing that not one Montreal Alouette defender was an all-Canadian last year, all-CFL, all-star. Right now, you could argue that they might have 7 or 8.
Well, and sure you could. What they do is they have such a team concept. I mean, this is a goal line defense that plays anywhere, plays it anywhere on the field. They play it midfield, anywhere. I mean, they put 7 in your face, sometimes 8, and they just say, look, here we come.
First and 10 from midfield. Stamps just trying to get some sort of confidence. Respectability. Arlane brings it down to the 32.
And I do believe that's what you have to do. They haven't done enough of that tonight. Attack the corners on the outside when they bring 7 and 8. That time they brought 8 people.
Calvillo.
Well, he's been masterful. I mean, how else could you describe it? But the only thing he hasn't really done tonight is throw one right over the top. He hasn't had to do it.
Six minutes to go in this game. Crandall through a seam. Catch made by Nick Lewis. Nick Lewis has been the best receiver tonight for the Stampeders. It was the Calgary Stampeders back in 1948 who had the best ever record, percentage record. A 12-0 unblemished season. They went on to the Grey Cup. Best since that time, that 16-2 by Edmonton in '89. Now we're getting a little far ahead of ourselves at 5-0. But if Ed Fillion is saying that this team is capable of going 18-0, who's to argue with him?
Well, I'm not arguing right now. I'm saying,
a lot bigger than us.
Yeah, I'm saying, they do have a chance. Why not?
Crandall trying to find Paydirt. Flag on the play. Oh, another pickoff. Davis Sanchez's second of the night. And there was a flag in the backfield. And a flag in the end zone. Might be interference and also could be a hold. You know, in the 70s around here, saw Dan Yoakum tonight, one of the Hall of Fame inductees. They called this team in Montreal the Dynasty. It's always been referred to as a dynasty. Peter Della Riva around here in those days. Sam Echeverry days. Sonny Wade.
Yeah.
Johnny Rogers era as well. This team is pretty close. Scary close so far.
Well,
offside. Calgary. Pass interference. Pass interference. Montreal number 2. Repeat first down.
So that play goes for naught.
Well, again,
5:20 to go.
I go back to what I said earlier, Rod. When you look at a team, how are you going to try to beat it? Where's the weakness? Where do we try to exploit? Where do we try to attack? And I don't know where there is one. Maybe somebody smarter than me can explain it to me, but I sure don't see one.
Well, even when they lose players, they go out and get better players. Getting Davis Sanchez, Kelly Malvo. Crandall throws it out of bounds. Tim Strickland right in his face again. Just a miserable night for the Calgary Stampeders and Marcus Crandall.
Well, it's easy to criticize, and it just doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of imagination down there on the goal line in the passing game. They got 3 receivers to one side. He rolls that way. It seems like they all try to run outs, and they're in bump and run coverage. It just doesn't look good.
Crandall fumbles. Went to hand it off to Victor Ike, who wasn't ready. Miscommunication there. So now it will be 3rd and goal. A shell-shocked bunch of Stampeders. Thoroughly
Procedure.
dominated by Montreal.
Calgary number 64. It remains 2nd down.
Pénalité contre les Stampeders, procédure inadmissible.
3 hours ago, it certainly didn't look like this game would go this way.
Well, no, and you know, you get a sense of how a team's going to play. We wander out around in the warm-ups, and I mean, everybody's pumped up. They're all positive, and you know how it can go so wrong so quickly.
Look out again, end zone. Juhas overthrown. Thought his receiver was pulled, his sweater was pulled, and he may have had a point.
You know what? I mean, seriously, right now, they're just lining up, and it's one-on-one all across the board, and John Jenkins' receivers are getting beaten up. They're getting beaten up by Montreal's defensive backs right now.
So now it will be 3rd down after that last play, the penalty call. So back to the drawing board for the Stampeders this week. They will fall to 1-3. And once again, East bests West. 9-0 the East against the West this year. Nobody home again. Crandall, end zone touchdown.
Touchdown, Calgary.
Celicio Sanford putting some points on the board, but again, all of the work for what was an 8-yard pass.
It really looked, and it was, you know, it ended up being a scramble too. I mean, so Calgary's had to work hard for every little inch down on the goal line. And here initially, Crandall wants to go to the outside, but David Sanchez is all over Connell. And then somehow Celicio Sanford comes open. That's a tough first name. Celicio.
42-21.
Well, a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel for the Calgary Stampeders. They get their 3rd touchdown of the night. Celicio Sanford works in. Strickland kind of stays with him, and he reads Crandall and takes off and just leaves Sanford wide open. There he comes right there, and he kind of just says, whoa, I think the ball's going somewhere else, and all of a sudden it comes back against the grain, and Sanford has his first professional touchdown.
He does. Ezra Landry almost broke one earlier. Flag on the play, and he's bowled over at his 25. 3:48 to go. And Kwame Cavill comes to the aid of tiny Ezra Landry.
The arrow.
The arrow.
I don't really like that one. Do you? The arrow?
Well, you came up with it.
No.
Yes, you did.
You
No,
nodded.
you did.
Your head was nodding.
I am sure someone
like
will
you
come
thought that was the greatest name.
No,
oh yeah. Now you bail on me.
You know
sure.
what? No.
That's nice.
What I'm saying is someone's going to. Some people much smarter than we are will come up with a good nickname for this.
I said the arrow.
The tornado.
You start nodding
Tornado.
like crazy, endorsing it.
Whatever.
And now you just hang me out to dry.
Hanging out to dry. There he is.
Holding, Montreal number 35. Objectionable conduct, dead ball foul. Montreal number 16. First down.
So Anthony Calvillo still in the game. Are you a little surprised that Don Matthews wouldn't bring it back up at this point?
Yeah, I am, because last week against Ottawa, when he had a big lead, he did make the change and put Ted White in. So I am a little surprised.
Well, also when you base, this team goes as Calvillo goes too. If he ever got hurt, they'd be in big trouble. Picked, almost picked. Willie Fields. That was the closest that any member of the Calgary secondary has come to a football here today. Calvillo has torched them. Only the real story now is if Ben Cahoon can get to 100 yards again.
Well, he's had 3 in a row coming into tonight's game. This would be his 4th.
Everybody's been talking about this Alouette team. Everybody talked about Ottawa out of the starting gate and their impressive start. Kind of forgetting about how good this Montreal team is. They're not saying that anymore. They're not forgetting about them. Calvillo, his left side. What a play as he hits O'Neill Wilson, Canadian rookie receiver out of Yukon.
And I'll tell you, O'Neill Wilson hasn't seen the ball a lot tonight, but he just made a terrific play. You know, if he doesn't work back to the quarterback, that ball is either picked off or it's knocked away. And, you know, those are great skills that he has, and he makes his quarterback look pretty good right there.
3-minute timeout. Alouettes on their way to the win. Well, this baby's over. We look forward to tomorrow night, Wendy's Friday Night Football, Blue Bombers and the Renegades, Toronto, Saskatchewan. Doubleheader tomorrow on TSN. The theme tomorrow night, will a Western team finally get off the schneid and beat an Eastern team? 9-0, the East, after this one tonight. Inside 3 minutes, Kellett to kick. Again, Wayne McGarity out of the ball game and probably out for a while with a separated shoulder. So Nick Lewis back to return the punt, but there will be no punt. Kellett will give up 2 points. Makes it 42-23. Well, our game story brought to you by Sport Check.
Well, it's pretty much as the score would indicate, 42-23 now. Calvillo had an unbelievable night, and his pretty steady receivers as they were all through 2003. Copeland comes back into the lineup tonight after missing 3 games. He's got 8 catches and a touchdown. And of course, Ben Cahoon with his 9 and 18 yards away from his 4th 100-yard game in a row.
Tonight's game story brought to you by Sport Check, proud supporter of the CFL. Well, Calvillo's probably done, you'd think, for the night. 2:30 to go. Marcus Crandall's still in the ball game for Calgary. Stampeders have more soul searching to do. They get ready for their next test. Started the season off with a win. Now have suffered 3 losses in a row. Crandall over the middle. Catch made up to midfield. Is Lewis again, and he's having himself a good night, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, he has been one of the bright spots, and Matt Dunnigan made sure we met him before the game. Strong upper body guy.
Big hands.
Yep, big hands, big mitts.
7 catches, century mark for him. Again, the idea here, and Matt Dunnigan's been on both ends of a score like this. He knows what this is about. Exactly.
We all have, trust me.
Crandall. And so is Montreal. You go back to last year, the big blowout against the Toronto Argonauts kind of set the tone also for the playoffs where they sought revenge. It can happen to any team at any time. So before anybody can get too cocky about any win, no matter how big it is or how dominating, fame is very fleeting in this game. 2 minutes to go. But I'll tell you what, Montreal Alouettes right now are an unbeatable football team.
Well, you know, they just don't make mistakes. They play error-free for the most part. They don't seem to take crucial penalties that stall drives, and they execute. Pretty simple when you do that.
And they don't have much turnover. Yes, they lose some players, some big players like Stokes and Woodcock, Omar Evans, Adriano Belli, some of these guys, but they still replace them. They keep their nucleus intact. And of course, that guy right there, the Don Matthews, at the helm for all of them.
And one guy we really haven't talked about tonight, or I haven't mentioned him, is the general manager, Jim Pop. I mean, he and Matthews have been a pretty solid combination over the years. And Pop, whenever they need a player,
they find
they found Ezra Landry. They needed more on the return game, so they plucked him off the Edmonton practice roster, signed him, put him in the lineup right away. And so there's Jim Pop right there, and they've been able to fill voids, and he's done the job in that department. So not only does the team execute on the field, the front office has done the same.
Crandall, another overthrow and almost another interception by former Stampeder Kelly Malvo.
I mean, you really, you look, and we have time to kind of talk about these things right now, but you look at organizations, and when they're solid at the top, it just seems to go right down through. And, Mr.
In every aspect of life.
Robert Wettenall is a good, solid owner. He's been willing to put money up, and he's got a great president in Larry Smith. Knows the game. He's a good businessman, former commissioner. I mean, you go through the front office and the whole lineup, and it's solid as the day is long.
3rd and 1, so they'll move the yardsticks again. This final run of 2 minutes. So much promise, it seemed, for the Stampeders out of the chute in their win over Saskatchewan. The losses now 2 to Montreal and to Hamilton. The next game, the 24th, against Saskatchewan, McMahon Stadium. Matt Dunnigan knew that it wasn't going to be easy. So much turnover, big upheaval in Calgary. Basically gutted the team. Big hit there on Sanford. Punctuation point. Armando Curry, what a get he has been. Jim Pop gets him from Virginia. Sports Center coming up next. Highlights from here. Baseball back in action. And day 1 at the Open Championship at Royal Troon. Paul Casey, Thomas LeVay, the leaders, and Mike Weir 5 shots back, even par today. Tiger Woods 1 under. All coming up on Sports Center. Guys are standing by. 2nd and 10. Alouettes, as mentioned, their 5-0 start. They had a 5-0 start in 2000. They went 4-0 in 01, 8-0 their Grey Cup season in 02. Started last year 3-0, still made it to the Grey Cup game. 5-0 to start 04. And the winning will continue. They're like this guy on Jeopardy. You been watching him?
Yeah, I heard
he never
about
misses.
that.
Well, a timeout on the field.
I want to know who called the timeout. You don't think he's going to go over and ask Matt Dunnigan, Coach, do you want me to go for the win or the tie right now?
It's optimistic thinking, mind you.
No kidding.
Alouettes head to Hamilton next week. Play against the Tiger Cats. Oh, and I've received word. That
I heard this.
Just want to warn the good folks of Steeltown.
No.
Yes, make sure that you know that the panel will be in town that night.
They're unleashing them.
They are unleashing the panel from the studio. Beware. And once again, the Alouettes keep driving the Stampeders back.
I'll tell you, Armando Curry is technically as good as we've seen, and he's a rookie.
Muffin.
The Muffin, yeah. I mean, goodness gracious. He's had a couple of breakups on this series, and he just seems to see the field and anticipate so quickly. He'll leave his man to help out somewhere else. And I've been truly impressed. And again, let's go back to Jim Pop and the organization here. They get this guy in, and hey, they suffered with their corners in the Grey Cup last year. All of a sudden, now you got a quality guy like Curry.
Look at that, 7 turnovers.
It's ugly.
And not a 1 by the Alouettes. Minute to go. Guess who's still in the game? Calvillo.
Wow.
Denson. Still churning. So I guess still a chance also if you want to pile up the yardage to get Cahoon his 100. I'm not so sure they even care about that.
No, they
know
don't.
about that.
I doubt that they even know, or I doubt that they even care. It's the win that they always care about.
Well, what a birthday present tonight for Ben Cahoon. He's 32 tomorrow, and Scott Flory, 28 today. What a way to blow out the candles. blow out the Stamps. Denson again. And another first down, it looks like. Former member of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, their career rushing leader. Played a little with the Miami Dolphins. Tried to make it in the NFL. Went on a number of practice rosters. CFL Offensive Player of the Week. And another good one.
Well, he seemed to just fit this offense so well. He's a different back than Mike Pringle was in his glory years, but he's a terrific receiver, and he's been getting the job done when they've needed some good hard yards on the ground as well.
And mercifully, the Alouettes will take the knee. The bleeding will stop. 24 seconds to go. Matt Dunnigan, one of the most optimistic men you will ever meet in football and life. Right now, you know that it's a puzzle for the Stampeders. His players play right to the end, but too big of a deficit, too many turnovers, too much Montreal Alouettes. Too good. The Alouettes are 5-0. 4 seconds to go. And the Eastern Conference in the Canadian Football League is 9-0 versus the West. All Montreal. Calgary scored on its first possession, and the Alouettes took it by storm after that. The finals 42-23 in Montreal.